Welcome to HD Toy Theater. To look at the DC Collectibles Designers Series 0-year Batman based off the artwork of Batman artist Greg Capullo. He stands about 7 inches tall, nicely sculpted and painted, has pretty good articulation, accessories to complement the figure, so let's dive right in and see what 0-year Batman has to offer. For accessories, he gets a grapnel gun here and a special right hand for holding it. One word of advice, if it's tough to get the gun into the hand, because these hands are really tough to move at first, you might want to run the fingertips through some hot water to soften them up for about 30 seconds, then you can slip it in a lot better. One thing to really point out is the trigger here. You don't want to force the gun in if the hand is stiff, otherwise you might end up kind of bending it like I did. So kind of a lesson that I learned after the fact, and I want to share that with you guys. Hand swapping is very simple. Take off the existing hand off the figure. We have the right closed fist. Pull that off and then simply attach the other hand. You can holster the grapnel gun in the side pouch on his right thigh. And you can do it just by inserting it just like that. You get a pair of batarangs that are about ½ an inch in length, very thin. And let me see if I can show that off. That is super thin. Now this is the only hand that's conceivable for even holding the batarang, and you can't really hold it. It falls right through. Let me just demo that. So I'm going to attempt to just have him hold it pretty well. I mean, you can use gravity to hold it up like this, in this sense, but if you put it on the side, it's just going to fall right through. And you can't pinch it because the fingers aren't pinching close enough, so kind of unfortunate that this type of batarang does not work with this hand. DC Collectibles should have thrown in a different type of hand for that. Taking a close look at the figure, he's based off his 0-year design, has a nice adult male physique. And pretty light gray for the most of the suit, and then lots of black, extra black that you're not normally used to seeing on a Batman standard figure. Very nicely done boots, good sculpt work overall. Has a nice belt going on the right of his thigh for the grapnel gun holster. Utility belt, some yellow, some deep gray for the pouches. That funky looking symbol on his belt. The black is pretty flat overall, but when it comes to the cape here, it's has a little semi-gloss appearance to it. The cape is nice and flexible, has a rubber-like feel to it. Good looking bat symbol. I like the head sculpt a lot. Definitely has that Greg Capullo look to it. In terms of the way he draws Batman, it's very well translated into this figure. And the cape is short. Kind of not what I'm used to for a Batman figure. It's kind of segmented almost in a way too. It's kind of cut here in the middle. I'm more used to a longer cape. It's kind of what's bothersome to me about it, but it's the way it was in the comics. And he does have the purple gloves, and that's not a mistake. That's how it appeared. That's how his suit was like in the 0-year storyline. He had purple gloves. For articulation, he has a ball-jointed head, so he has some really good movement here. You can look up and down very nicely. Tilt and rotate all the way around, so good movement there. And ball hinged arms, you can swing out pretty nicely. Rotate all the way around, bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. It's pretty good range. Swivel around the wrist. Ab crunch. Waist rotation. The legs are ball jointed at the top. So you can go about that much. Go forward that much, back that much. So pretty decent range there. High thigh swivel right there. Single jointed knee. And a ball hinge ankle so you can bend and rotate all the way around. Can't ankle rock, one thing to point out. And that's the articulation for a 0-year Batman. Let's do a quick comparison shot. We have on the left the Batgirl figure of the same designer Wave. She's a little bit smaller. They look great together. On the right we have the Mattel New 52 design Batman action figure. Definitely apparent size difference between those two. That's your typical 6-inch figure on your right. And just for fun, let's bring in a Marvel Legends so you can see how this guy scales. And there's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie figure by Hasbro. And yep, Spider-Man is definitely a short guy compared to this 0-year Batman. Final thoughts on this figure. Overall, a good looking Batman figure. If you're into the 0-year design, this might be one for you to pick up. Very nicely sculpted, very well designed. Enough articulation for dynamic posing. The accessory count is small, but you get enough to make this figure a little bit worthwhile in that department. So for about 25 bucks, you can add this guy to your collection. He's available at a local comic book store near you, possibly. You can also go to dccomics.com, bigbadtoyster.com, and Amazon for your online sources where to snag this guy. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hit like, dislike, and or comment. Check out my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out hdtoytheater.com, and we'll see you next time.